particulate capable of anything.
뭔가 받아들이기 되게 어려운데? 무슨 말 하는지 모르겠어요.
Yeah, you lost me.
일단 이렇게 되어
I
좀
don't see the
자세한 설명이
point of
나올
any
것
of
같아요.
this.
You don't see the connection. Let me try to explain. The Institute endeavored to create synthetic organics. The most logical starting point, of course, was human DNA. Plenty of that was available, of course. But it had all become corrupted. In this wasteland, radiation affected everyone. Even in their attempts to shield themselves from the world above, members of the Institute had been exposed. Another source was necessary. But then the Institute found me, after discovering records from Vault 111. An infant, frozen in time, protected from the radiation-induced mutations that had crept into every other human cell in the Commonwealth. I was exactly what they needed. And so it was my DNA that became the basis of the synthetic organics used to create every human-like synth you see today. I am their father. Through science, we are family. The synths, me, and you.
And you've been down here the whole time?
I have. Yes. I know you must have questions. Please. Anything I can do to help you understand.
Kellogg. He worked for you?
Kellogg. He was an Institute asset long before I arrived here. It wasn't until I became director that I learned of all the things he'd done. What kind of man he was.
You knew the man was a psychopath, but you used him anyway?
Would you have preferred that I turned him loose on the Commonwealth? At least keeping him on a short leash kept the collateral damage to a minimum. The Institute took advantage of Kellogg's vicious nature. I will freely admit that. Institute technology prolonged his life, and his usefulness far beyond any normal human lifespan. He never failed the Institute, but his cruelty became more apparent with every completed objective. I won't lie. It's no coincidence your path crossed his. It seemed a fitting way to allow you, us, to have some amount of revenge. What else can I say to ease your mind?
Your mother. She never got to see you grow up?
Yes. What happened to her was... I've gone over the records of the incident, of course. It seems her death was an unfortunate bit of collateral damage.
Collateral damage? Is that all she was to you?
I forget that it's been such a short time for you. I don't have any direct memories. And I've had my entire life to cope with the loss. Has it always been easy? Of course not. But I've done my best to move on and live my life. For many years, I never questioned who my parents were. I accepted my situation, and that was that. With old age comes regret. And asking what if more often. But what matters now is that you and I have a chance to begin again. What else can I say to ease your mind?
So you're in charge of the Institute?
I am the acting director, yes. I spent decades working to reach this point. It's a responsibility I take very seriously. The Institute. It's important. It really is humanity's best hope for the future, no matter what those above ground might think of us.
But, director? Why you?
I was the most qualified for the position, obviously. I've lived my life within these walls, dedicated to science like every other member of the Institute. My hard work has paid off. Ultimately, the Commonwealth has nothing to fear from us. Whatever you've seen or heard, I know I can convince you of that. Just give me time. I know there's more for us to discuss. But the Institute is on the verge of some important breakthroughs. Your presence would be appreciated as we approach them. I've been a part of something amazing here. I've helped to build a life for myself and the people of the Institute. And now, after all these years, you have an opportunity to help with that. Doesn't that intrigue you? Isn't that what you want?
You want me to stay here? In the Institute?
Yes, that is what I propose. Is it so hard to imagine? The Institute can provide a better life than anything above ground. You've been in the Commonwealth. You've seen what it's like. I assure you that you are better off with us.
I don't know what to do.
I realize that. It's why I'm trying to help you. I hope that you can see that rationally. The Institute is the only thing left in the world that is worth being part of. I simply ask that you give the Institute, me, a chance. A chance to show you what I've been telling you. We really do have humanity's best interest at heart. Will you take that chance?
All right.
Thank you. The Institute is now your home, as much as it is mine. Please take some time, get to know it. Meet the people you'll be working with. You'll want to introduce yourself to the division heads. Dr. Fillmore in Facilities, Dr. Ayo in SRB, Dr. Holdren in Bioscience, and finally Dr. Lee in Advanced Systems. They've all been notified of your arrival, of course. Meet them, and then we'll discuss what comes next.
뭐 일단은 아들이라니까 그렇겠거니라고 하는데 제 개인적인 그냥 심정으로는 일단 쏘고 싶거든요. 그냥 한번 또 이용하려는 것 같기도 하고. 근데 제가 이제 뭔가 그냥 분위기상 말함에 있어서 뭔가 거짓말을 한 건 아닌 것 같고, 뭐 숨긴 게 있으면 숨긴 게 있을지라도 거짓말은 안 한 것 같아요.
You mean the child? It's a fascinating project, really. There are issues to be solved, of course, but we've made remarkable progress.
Why build it to look like you?
We'd advanced the technology behind synths to a point where this struck me as an interesting variation. A new angle, if you will. Modeling it after myself seemed only natural, what with the Institute's records on my genetics and physiology. I'll make sure it's brought back online in the near future. You'll have an opportunity to interact with him further. But I'll admit I'm curious. As a parent looking for a child, looking for the younger version of me.
얘는 아예 뼛속까지 여기 소속이 됐구나.
What do you think?
걔는 어려서부터
Do
여기서
you think you
죽었으니까.
could love him? Like you would a real boy?
글쎄요.
I don't need a synth. I found the real Sean.
Yes, but not the Sean you were looking for. In some ways, the synth is far closer to what you expected.
핵심을
I
찌르네.
wouldn't claim to know everything you're feeling, but if in some small way the boy's presence can help, I hope you'll keep an open mind.
아무래도 많은 사람들이 인스티튜트 팩션 엔딩을 보지 않았을까라는 생각을 하게 되네요. 이렇게까지 피해 막 호소를 하는 걸 보면은 그 혈육의 정의라는 것에 글쎄요. 저는 일단 좀 이런 것들에 대해서는 좀 의심부터 하고 보는 편이기 때문에 개인적으로는 믿지 않아요. 근데
It's an
뭐
honor
일단
to have you
우호적이기도
here,
하고.
sir.
만약에 내 진짜 삶에서 저런 일이 일어났으면 난 총으로 쐈을 것 같아요. 설령 그게 진짜 아들이라도. 뭐 아무튼 절대 악이라고
Almost
생각했던
done.
조직이 지금
Just need to tighten up this primary drive servo.
That's
제일 멀쩡한
I
조직인
don't
것
know.
같아.
you really are here.
Most of them have lasted
Well, all
long
right.
past their projected
I'm Allie.
lifespans.
한 사람씩 말을
If you
하죠.
ask me,
You can think
They
of
were
me as
built
the
pretty
Institute's
well.
chief engineer. When Father told us about you, I could hardly believe it. You've been through so much, I think most people would have just given up. If you don't mind my asking, what was it that kept you going all that time?
I just wanted to find my son and keep him safe.
Now that you've found him, I hope you're proud of the great man he grew up to be. Now, I'll give you a quick rundown of the facilities division, and then I'll answer any questions you might have afterward. As you might guess, we keep the Institute's mechanical and electrical systems running smoothly. We maintain and upgrade all of the systems that make it possible to live and work in a place like this. There's a lot of machinery behind these walls that recycles the air and water and provides power to the laboratories and quarters. The work we do might not be as exciting as some of the other departments, but it's at least as important. So, now that you're here and you've spoken to Father, does that mean you're on board?
Absolutely.
Oh, good to hear. It'll be a load off Sean's mind. Take your time. Get yourself acquainted. There's a lot to take in. Plenty of things you won't find topside. If there's anything else you'd like to know about the facilities division, I'm happy to discuss it.
누가
Who
지었는지.
built this place originally? Has it been here long?
The construction of the Institute is the work of generations of scientists. The original survivors of the war, our progenitors, took refuge in the basement of the old Commonwealth Institute of Technology. Over time, their sons and daughters dug deeper into the earth and built increasingly sophisticated habitats and laboratories. It's a process that's still going on today. Even now, we're digging out tunnels for new facilities and infrastructure. Just think what this place will look like 100 years from now. I hope I'm there to see it. I can't argue with that. Even so, I'm ready to see the full Gen 3 roll out.
there we go. All set.
얘네가
You're here.
시설이
Glad you made
이렇게
it.
좀 풍족해서 그런지 몰라도 좀 애들이 유하네요. 부드럽네 애들이. 레일로드 같은 경우엔 되게 까칠했잖아 나한테.
Authorized personnel only.
So Dr. Ayo thinks he can hide in his office, does he? Well, you can tell him that I intend to speak to
나도 못
Father
들어가네.
about these unannounced security sweeps
Subject
of yours.
identified.
Ransacking
들어갔다
my
총 맞는 거
house
아니야?
in the middle of the
I'm seriously thinking of heading over to robotics to knock some heads together.
여기 부서 애들을 다 만나야 돼?
The targeting package
귀찮게.
upgrades I asked for.
We're
Maybe
all
I should
looking
take some
forward to
courses
working with you.
You know, send a message.
Please
한
don't.
자리에 모아주면 안 되나?
There's enough friction as it is between us and pretty much all the other departments.
You going soft on me, Alana? My methods get results, and they will this time as well. You'll see.
그러니까 이렇게 많은 걸 보여주려고 하는 건 좋은데 좀
The Directorate should take the synth escapes more seriously.
Sometimes you have to lean on the other departments a little to get what you need.
Doctor,
So, here you are. Justin Ayo, Acting Director of the Synth Retention Bureau. I'll be upfront with you. We're going to be keeping a close eye on you for the near future. Despite your relation to Father, you're a bit of an unknown quantity. I'm sure you understand. There won't be any issues, will there?
why? Don't you trust me?
I'll be honest. You're an outsider. The first outsider to be allowed access to the Institute in quite a long time, in fact. There's little precedent for this situation, so it's only natural to take extra precautions, It's nothing personal, I assure you. Now, Father has asked that I provide you with a brief overview of the Synth Retention Bureau. Our primary responsibility is the recovery of escaped synths that are hiding among the human population on the surface.
Why would synths want to escape?
Synths do not want. They might look like human beings, but they're machines. As to why they're escaping? That matter is currently under
뭔가 또 거기에
investigation.
관련된 퀘스트가
Our main
나오겠구나.
instrument is the Courser, a third-generation synth assigned to operate on the surface. Coursers hunt down and reclaim synths that have escaped the Institute. They are highly self-sufficient, trained in combat, infiltration, and tracking. In a word, our Coursers are relentless.
내가
But
하나
I gather you
부쉈잖아.
know all this, since you've encountered one already. In fact, I'd very much like to know how you defeated it.
I guess I just got lucky.
That's hardly helpful. I suppose I'll have to ask robotics to perform detailed diagnostics on the entire production run. As if we don't have enough problems. Now, unless you need something else, I'll get back to work.
계속 가죠.
I'd like to know more about the synth reclamation process.
Fine. Once a courser has located a rogue synth, it uses that synth's recall code to wipe its memories and render it inert. We then begin the delicate process of restoring the neural pathways to their original configuration. In those cases where the procedure is successful, the synth returns to duty with no memory of its time on the surface. All too often, we're unable to repair the damage and are forced to dispose of the unit entirely.
아, 뭔가 되게 귀찮아질 것 같은데.
You take down a Brotherhood soldier?
아, 파워 아머였지, 슈트가 아니라. 근데 그러니까 뭐가 이렇게 막 다양한 걸 경험할 수 있는 건 저도 굉장히 좋은데 뭔가 하나에 집중할 수 없게 지금 스토리 라인이 되게 난잡하게 돼 있는 것 같아. 이젠 또 어디로 가야 돼? 그러니까 이 중에서 하나 골라서 하던지 아니면 뭘 하든지 네 맘인데 뭐 어떻게 잘 해봐 뭐 이런 느낌이라고 해야 되나? 그러니까 메인 스토리 자체가 좀 메가리가 없는 느낌?
Nothing. At this point, she's just doing it for fun.
Dr. Lee.
Oh, it's you. You're not authorized to be here.
이 사람이 데려오라는 그 사람이지. 아닌가? 맞나?
I wasn't aware that I needed authorization.
Father may have given you the keys to the castle, but this is still my laboratory. If you plan to stay down here with us, you need to learn how things work.
Easy. I just want to talk.
About what? You're obviously here for a reason, and you've already spoiled my experiment, so you might as well spit it out.
까칠한데? 많이 바빴나 본데? 이거를 고지고대로 얘기를 해야 되나? 되게 경계할 것 같기도 하고.
I'm not here for any reason in particular.
That's a load of crap, and we both know it. A Brotherhood of Steel airship arrives in the Commonwealth, you find a way to intercept our teleport signal, and now you show up at my door. I knew it was just a matter of time before your people would track me down. I've been looking over my shoulder for almost a decade, waiting for them to send someone like you to kill me.
죽이라고 보낸 건 아닌데 뭘 골라야 되지?
I'm only here with good intentions. You have my word.
You're giving me your word, even though we just met? Fine. Since Father trusts you, I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. I might not agree with everything he says, but I know he'd never allow harm to come my way. Say what you came here to say, and then leave me alone.
주황색을 고르면 왠지 반감을 살 것 같기도 한데 그런 거 없을래나? 그냥 일단
The Brotherhood
안전하게.
needs your help, Doctor.
Needs my help. Why? They seemed to have everything under control when I left.
Did you abandon any projects you wanted to complete?
You should know better than to ask me that. If they didn't tell you what I was working on, they didn't want you to know. I'm certainly not going to put my neck on the line and spread their dirty little secrets. Tell me something. Why would I possibly want to come crawling back to the Brotherhood? What reason would I have to throw away everything I've accomplished here?
I give up. What would it take to convince you?
All right, I'll play your game. I had a colleague down here, a Dr. Virgil. Several months ago, there was an accident in his lab, and he was killed. I wanted to help with the investigation, but Father had the laboratory sealed, saying that it was contaminated. The incident never sat right with me. The more I asked about it, the more I felt like Father was deflecting my questions. If you bring me solid information on what killed him, I'll take it as a favor from the Brotherhood and consider your offer. Do we have a deal?
버즐 안 죽었잖아.
I know this may come as a shock, but Dr. Virgil is still alive. I met him myself.
Oh, please. Do you really think a cheap tactic like that is going to work on someone like me? Stop trying to avoid the legwork by lying. Either you get me the evidence, or we have nothing else to talk about. Deal?
그냥 설득하는
Are
게
there
나았을
any
것
other
같다.
options?
That's my offer. Take it or leave it.
Deal.
All right. Dr. Virgil's lab was in the Biosciences Division. I can give you a code that will get you into the section, but the lab itself has been sealed, so you'll have to breach it on your own. I'd tell you to be quiet about it, but your Brotherhood and discretion isn't exactly your strong suit. And finally, If you get caught, we never had this conversation. Now, for the sake of keeping up appearances, let me see that Pip-Boy of yours. I've been told to install a courser chip in it for you. Father's orders. You're to be given full access, with the ability to relay in and out of the Institute
좋은데?
at will.
좋은 건가? 아닌가?
Thank you. I'm sure that'll come in handy.
Given that the relay is the only way to access the Institute, handy is something of an understatement. In case the significance is lost on you, you'll be the only one here with that kind of access. If nothing else, it should demonstrate the amount of trust Father has placed in you. Speaking of, I trust our discussion will remain between the two of us. Now, I need to get back to work, and I'm sure you have other things to do.
그러니까 친부자 관계가 맞기는 한 것 같아. 이 정도까지 외부인한테 신뢰를 보여줄 필요는 없는 게 맞으니까, 그죠?
If you ask me, we're only
이렇게
scratching
비밀리에 운영되고 있는 단체로서. 그러면은 결국에는 퀘스트를 주는 단체가 하나 더 생겨났다는 거죠. 귀찮네. 실제로 이렇게 또 퀘스트가 생겼고, 버질 박사에 대해서 살아있는 거를 제가 알고 있지만 이제 그 사람으로서는 믿을 수 있는 증거가 없으니까 어쩔 수 없지. 몰래 들어가라고 했는데 그 퀘스트가 아니네.
Hey, Doc.
Welcome. So good to have you here. Dr. Clayton Holdren, head of the bioscience group.
Remarkable.
I can't wait for you to see the work we're doing. It's truly amazing.
I look forward to learning more about it.
In that case, let me give you a brief overview of what we do here. As the name implies, the Bioscience Division specializes in fields of studies such as botany, genetics, and medicine. Our most important directive is to ensure the health and well-being of everyone in the Institute. To that end, we cultivate highly specialized breeds of flora for use in food and medicine. We've even started to explore the idea of synthetic animal life. You probably saw the gorillas. They're really just a pet project at this point, but the potential is exciting nonetheless.
Seems like there's nothing you guys can't do.
With hard work and ingenuity, any challenge can be overcome. I'm sure I've taken up enough of your time as it is. But I have to ask, have you decided whether you'll join us?
I'm not sure how well I'll fit in, but I'd like to give it a try.
Great. I was hoping you'd say that. In any case, I imagine you'll want to continue looking around. Or, if you prefer, I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
You mentioned medical care. I might need that from time to time.
In that case, you'll want to introduce yourself to Dr. Dean Volkert. He's our top biologist and also serves as the Institute's resident physician. Dr. Volkert works in the infirmary. Just pay him a visit whenever you need to. You won't find better medical care anywhere else in the Commonwealth. I'll promise you that.
뭐 일단 만나는 퀘스트는 다 한 거 같으니까 그 버질
Director Holdren seems very taken.
홀드렌이 누구야? 버질의 연구실에 숨어들라 그랬죠? 지금 내가 제대로 가는 건 아닌 것 같은데. 퓨전셀. 오, 인두가 여기 왜 있어? 일단은 다 그냥 둘러보면서 갈게요.
Got it.
스팀팩, 삼각구, 주사기, 그냥 뭐 잡템 있네. 기록기, 현미경. 총알 같은 거 좀 많이 있었으면 좋겠네요. 총알이 기회 게임이. 그래도 여기가 왜 이렇게 이게 입에 안 붙지? 인스티튜트? 뭐 본거지니까. 뭐야, 어디 들어간 거야? 본거지니까 퓨전셀은 많이 있을 것 같은데. 뭐지? 아, 제대로 왔나 보네 여기. 아닌가? 폐쇄구역에 있다 그랬죠? 뭔가 생각보다 되게 큰일이 있었던 것 같은데. 퓨전셀.